An insurgency, not a protest. That's the focus of tonight's angle. The message is clear from elected Democrats.
We are going to make sure that these people pay for what they have done to us.
This is, in essence, a federal invasion of the Twin Cities and Minnesota. Entire districts have had to cancel school. Enforcing federal immigration law and fighting fraud are just pretexts for this surge.
ICE's murder of Renee Good in broad daylight is horrific and unacceptable. She was an unarmed citizen driving on a residential street.
No, she was a member of a radical ICE tracking group whose goal is to disrupt federal law enforcement, block vehicles, and gin up crowds to swarm them. Had Renee Good been holding a sign on the side of the road, chanting, even loudly, writing letters, calling Capitol Hill, she'd be alive today. But when all you hear from Democrats and social media is that ICE and Trump are Gestapo, if you're one of these crazy lunatrons, you think that it's time to use new tactics or even real weapons. And I'm not just talking about your car.
We are under occupation, and this is what the Founding Fathers gave us the Second Amendment for.
Do you know why you have the right to own that AR that you only use in your dreams? The reason they're allowed to have those things is for the moment that we find ourselves in right now.
The Second Amendment exists for this reason. And if protests and boycotts aren't working, that's the only option left.
Jonathan E. Ross needs to be hunted down. When the law is not going to do anything to protect the people, it is up to the people to take justice into their own hands.
They're arming up, or they're pretending to arm up. Suddenly they're for gun rights. And by the way, don't count out the foreign influences that are pushing for a government overthrow. A Chinese propagandist on TikTok is telling insurgents here to start compiling lists of likely Trump supporters and other cooperators.
Some households still have an American flag in front of their house. That means those people are supporting the American system. They are your enemy. And set up a website and ask all your members to take picture of every household who got American flag and upload those information to your website.
Compiling lists of cooperators. If this isn't promoting an armed insurrection, I don't know what is. It starts with treating the patriots as the enemies. Look what happened over the weekend. Insurgents besieged a hotel in Minneapolis where they thought that ICE was staying. A few security guards, if you watch this video, somehow held back the mob. No National Guard were called in. No police that we could see were on site. Governor Walz and Mayor Frey have said that ICE's footprint, though, is too big there. So what happened when ICE sent only a pair of agents to a shopping area in St. Cloud on Saturday? The two ICE agents were quickly surrounded and they were pushed out by a mob screaming, all sorts of epithets at them, and it looked to be a mob of mostly Somalis. It was embarrassing. Now, this resistance, this insurgence, is organized and well executed. It's meant to undermine our entire federal system. But we know Democrats don't care about Renee Good because to them, she was just collateral damage. She was a talking point. She's dead because of her choices and the constant demonization campaign that Democrats put out there 24/7. What do they want? They want no one deported, ever.
I'm so exhausted in trying to ask what any of this, information has led to you finding any criminals that you have indicted that explains why you are wasting so much of our taxpayer resources and also terrorizing our communities.
Terrorizing her community? Oh, really? Who's terrorizing the community? Like some of the upstanding residents that ICE has picked up recently in Minnesota? Meet Sridorn Pavan. He's a Laotian illegal that DHS says was convicted of strong-arm sodomy of a boy and strong-arm sodomy of a girl, with a deportation order on him since 2018. And then there's Gilberto Salguero Landaverde, a Salvadorian illegal alien convicted of 3 counts of homicide. There's also Abridashid Adosh Elmi, a Somalian illegal alien, also convicted of homicide. So you got to protect all of them. But if you're a victim of illegal alien crime, they pretend you don't even exist. That's why there were no liberals at vigils for Laken Riley. They didn't care about her. But they do pretend, though, to stand against excessive force by law enforcement. But they thought unarmed Ashley Babbitt deserved it on January 6th. The insurgents, though, they don't care about double standards. They are committed to ridding the country of Trump and his agents by any means necessary. They're listening closely because they want to deliver vigilante justice. And listening to Ilhan Omar, why wouldn't they? Now, since 2024, the election there, the hard left has decided that America and our system is irredeemable. It's also, to them, illegitimate. That 77 million Americans to have voted for Trump was for them, it was just a point of no return. So elections and campaigns are simply not enough for them anymore. They don't trust elections or campaigns to rid us of what their party elites were describing as alternatively Hitler's Third Reich or the Gambino crime family. Again, all of this, fed the burgeoning insurgency. They wanted it to feed an insurgency. It was like throwing slop into a pigsty. They knew it would have an effect. They would devour it. So here's the bottom line. If you believe that the voters have the right to pick their own leaders and that those leaders have the right to enact change or enforce laws, then you must do everything you can legally to oppose the efforts of the insurgents who are stirring up violence against the president and his team. That is the only way we're going to ensure that we remain a country governed by laws and not by mobs. And that's the angle.
The Minnesota fraud faucet keeps on dripping, and we're not talking daycares anymore.
When a Somali goes to the doctor, magically, they forgot how to speak English, so they need an interpreter there. So the county brings in an interpreter at $100 an hour, minimum 8 hours, to interpret what the doctor is telling the patient. And then remember, the interpreter has to get to the doctor's office or the hospital. How are they getting there? The transportation company, and then they got to get back home. And that patient had to get to the doctor's office. How? Transportation.
Oh, so how much are we paying the interpreters and their drivers?
Almost 900 of them are Somali-owned. So in the second video, Nick Shirley and I went to 16 of them. I've actually been to about 70 of them. They don't exist.
So transportation companies that transport no one. Sounds like something we should be looking into. But Democrats say no need. That would be a waste of money.
I'm so exhausted in trying to ask what any of this, information has led to you finding any criminals that you have indicted that explains why you are wasting so much of our taxpayer resources and also terrorizing our communities.
Omar thinks it's a waste of money to catch Somalis stealing money. You know what else is a waste of money? Daycares with no kids. Democrats let Somali pirates steal billions, and now they care about taxpayer money. Whistleblowers say they warned Walz about the fraud, and he ignored it. And now the hunt's on, and the bloodhound is barking.
Tim Walz is a coward. He is a coward. He would not guarantee that the Treasury Secretary of the United States of America would have police protection in the Minnesota state capitol. He is afraid of what is coming, and he's not going to be able to hide behind this curtain because we will get there.
But this is bigger than Walz. He didn't rise on his own. Democrats powered the machine, pushed him forward, and he came within inches of putting him on the throne. But the curtain's moving, and Timmy's center stage in his underwear. His worst nightmare. And Mayor Small Fry can't look away.
Obviously, everybody could have done more to prevent fraud, and I think that's a fair point to make. You do more to prevent fraud, and you look what he's doing right now. He's setting up a whole bunch of infrastructure to do that. And by the way, look, the fraud's real. We've all got to acknowledge it. The fraud is very real.
You don't have to tell Besant twice. He's going to follow the money, like it's the Somali mob.
What we do is follow the money, just like we followed it with the mafia, just like we follow it with the drug cartels. And we will find out who's done this. You know, I announced today that we are going to put in effect a whistleblower program. And my sense is that the rats will turn on each other.
In tonight with incredible new footage from the streets of Tehran and nearly every other city in Iran, where massive crowds of regular people are taking a stand against their Islamo-fascist government. Now, I'm getting reports tonight around 2,000 innocent civilians already have been murdered in this government crackdown. Multiple reports now that morgues and hospitals are overflowing, but the protests continue. President Trump is backing their fight for freedom. Take a look.
Iran called to negotiate. Yesterday. The leaders of Iran called. They want to negotiate. I think they're tired of being beat up by the United States. Iran wants to negotiate, yes. We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up, but we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting. But a meeting is being set up. Iran called. They want to negotiate.
Now, of course, with President Trump, these are not empty words. As Secretary of State Marco Rubio clearly stated after the successful Venezuela operation, this president just doesn't play games. On Truth Social, President Trump posted the following quote: "Any country doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran will pay a tariff of 25% on any and all business being done with the USA. This order is final. It is conclusive. But new economic measures might be the least of the mullah's problems. According to reports tonight, President Trump has been briefed on military options against Iran's radical government, and a new travel warning has now been issued by the U.S. State Department, urging all U.S. citizens to, quote, leave now. As the president's press secretary made clear, everything is on the table. Take a look.
What the Iranian regime is saying publicly is quite different from the messages they are sending to the United States and the Trump administration privately. President Trump, as for him, he has always expressed that diplomacy is the first option, always has been, always will be. However, he is unafraid to use the lethal force and might of the United States military if and when he deems that necessary. And nobody knows that better than the Iranian regime. The greatest leverage the regime had just several months ago was their nuclear program, which President Trump and the United States military totally obliterated through Operation Midnight Hammer. And so what President Trump will do next, only he knows, so the world will have to keep waiting and guessing, and we will let him decide. I'm certainly not going to broadcast any future options or decisions from the president.
Now, if you are a protester in Iran, if you have a satellite dish, if you have Starlink, thanks to Elon Musk, many are staying in touch with the free world, and you're somehow watching tonight, just know that this administration clearly is stating unequivocally they have your back.
All right. Okay. To be honest, I was expecting more. Good evening, everyone. So Sunday night on CBS, they aired the Golden Globes. It's the only award show named after Sydney Sweeney's chest. Yeah. And for the third year in a row, the award for Best Special Effects went to Sean Penn's face. But winning for Best Picture, a movie called Hamnet. Though some audience members were disappointed to find out it had nothing to do with deli meat. Fat joke always lands. All right. Over the weekend, more than 2,000 anti-ICE protesters marched in Central Park. Sadly, most of them were immediately mugged by Venezuelan gang members. Did I say sadly? Heineken's CEO is stepping down due to sluggish beer sales. Industry experts are blaming Ozempic because you don't need beer when your wife's not fat. That is just a seamless joke.
You're killing it.
Yes. The U.S. reportedly incapacitated Venezuelan troops with a sonic weapon that one survivor described as feeling like his head was exploding from the inside. What's this about explosive head? Asked one man. I would have gone in a different direction. Zohran Mamdani went on YouTube Kids star Miss Rachel's show and sang "The Wheels on the Bus" with the host. It was all fun and games until the driver yelled, "Allah Akbar!" Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said that the ICE agent in Minnesota should have known not to try to get in front of a moving car. But she's wrong because the car wasn't moving. Man, she's going to make people think every Somali who marries her brother is some kind of fraud. All right. Finally, on Sunday's Meet the Press, Democrat Senator Chris Murphy said Trump has committed 10 times more impeachable offenses in his second term than his first term. Well, if you think that's bad, wait till you see his third. Joke. No longer a joke. So interfering with law enforcement is now the radicals' version of the Tide Pod Challenge. Same concept, do something really stupid, make sure it's filmed for accolades and attention. It's like standing between Jesse Waters and a camera. They never think they might die doing it. But here's the darker question. Imagine if Tide had been telling teens to eat those pods all along. What if Tide put out a glossy how-to explaining how solvents and cleaning agents go great with Lunchables and also cure acne from the inside out? And what if they then sent reps to schools to conduct training on how to chew and swallow, then post a reaction online? Seems like Tide would get sued to oblivion. So, what if your family member got themselves jammed up, or worse, at the behest of anti-ICE radicals? Couldn't you have a lawsuit too? Couldn't you go after the extremist groups, those who encourage and train gullible people to obstruct the law and who end up in jail, injured or worse? These groups are legal entities that can be held liable, including for negligence or wrongful death. Because this isn't just activism. It's get the confrontation on camera so we stay funded. And when the performance turns lethal, everyone suddenly becomes shocked that poking the bear can end badly, and not for the bear. Now, I'm not addressing the outcome. Leave that for investigators in courts, and definitely not for hacks like Adam Schiff or CNN, who rush to judgment like Kamala heading toward the nearest happy hour. But if reports are accurate, surviving relatives could pursue a settlement against the terrorist cosplayers who may have encouraged or equipped Good to engage in dangerous tactics like impeding federal agents. Because clearly that training increases risk of lethal encounters. Hell, Judge Judy could handle this case before the first commercial. Now, sources claim Good was part of ICE Watch, a group that monitors and interferes with immigration operations, and she received thorough training on obstructing the path of armed agents. Brilliant. Why not just paint an X on your forehead in the words, "shoot me"? This isn't observe and document, it's instigate and escalate. DHS sources say she was stalking and impeding officers all day and that she attempted to weaponize her vehicle, which lines up with the kind of training tactics used to create catastrophic confrontations. So if lawsuits uncover training materials or witnesses come forward documenting the deliberate escalation, that would link the training to Good's fatal encounter and other violent incidents. In plain English, if you're running a training program that teaches people to obstruct the law and you don't hammer home the obvious reality that this can get you killed, then what exactly are you doing? The people funding and running these groups, they know the risks, even if many of the clueless radicals they rile up don't. Maybe they should include warnings in their mass emails saying, "Warning, the Surgeon General has determined being a left-wing radical activist can kill you." Welcome tonight's guest. He used to host Shark Week till the sharks complained to HR. Host of Hollywood Weapons on the Outdoor Channel, Terry Schapper. You may recognize him from Pornhub's stepdad category. Comedian Jeff Dye. Yeah. The only time this Kennedy drives into a lake is when she's lost her glasses. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. And in high school, he was voted most likely to bang your great-grandmother. Former NWA World Champion and host of Tyrus podcast, Tyrus. Terry, great to see you as always. You look marvelous, in great shape. Aging gracefully.
You're
what do you know?
Starting. I turned 60 in December.
Oh, wow. So I'm actually older than you.
A little bit older.
And yet you look a lot older than me.
You know, that's what, Craig, it's funny you say that because, you've lived your years. I've lived mine as, mostly in special operations. So I have a lot of off-road miles. So this is what you get. You get ruggedly handsome and you get more if you do what I do.
Yeah.
And you get like you if you do what you do. So, I mean, it
It makes sense.
Am I wrong?
No,
Am I wrong?
Yeah, no.
Am I not wrong?
You are ruggedly
I'm 58.
handsome.
This is what show business does.
So, Terry, all these protests, who's behind this, and don't they share in the responsibility?
Well, what's discouraging about it too is that this is the culmination and a product of decades of this. So this isn't just a new thing. I have family members and friends who still, with everything that's come out, refuse to believe that all the stuff about Trump with Russia was BS. They will not believe it.
Right.
They will not believe the COVID stuff that's come out. They will not believe anything. And so I would say you got to give these people an A+ in the indoctrination over 30, 40 years by now, because now the ground has been set.
Yeah.
So then when you do have these people come in and say, you have an opportunity to save the world and rid it of Nazis, and they're going to do it, and they're going to do it. And I'm sure we're going to talk about all the Venezuela stuff. I really got to tell the administration, Trump, Bondi, and all them, no matter all the cool stuff you do on foreign policy, if you don't crush this, if you don't get this stopped in the United States, you will have a failed presidency.
Yeah, and it must bother you to see people.
Here we go.
To see people being called Nazis who aren't Nazis.
Yes.
Because you put the work in.
Yeah, I did. I put the work in.
Yes.
I feel like they're taking my helm.
It's stolen valor.
It's stolen valor.
One of us.
The audience is like going,
They don't know what to do.
Do I applaud? Do I laugh? It's okay.
Can you boo and clap at the same time?
Jeff, what do you think of my Tide Pod analogy?
I liked it. I don't think Tide's going to be crazy about that segment. They're going to go, hey, we're trying to get everyone to forget about that. Here's the thing. I feel like we're losing sight of things when it's selective. So it's like if, when the SeaWorld trainer gets attacked by a killer whale, everybody's common sense goes, oh, well, that might happen. That can happen.
Yes.
We do it with so many subjects. Now, I'm definitely not happy about what happened. It breaks my heart that these things happen. These things happen a lot. It sucks. It's not good. No one deserves this. But we're also losing sight that police officers and troops and people that have these type of difficult jobs, they're also people. They react when they're in a situation. Things happen. And when you go playing with these killer whales or play with these very dangerous jobs, these terrible things happen.
That is such a great point, because when I was growing up, Kennedy, I don't remember a single friendly interaction with a police officer. Like, you didn't kind of pal around with them.
No way.
And if you did something where you thought was clever, you were going to make it, they would scare the crap out of you. And somehow I believe that a generation of especially young left-wing women are being told that there are no consequences to poking the bear or the killer whale.
Or that it's virtuous.
Yes.
I remember, in the 80s, running around with my friends in 8th grade, dicking around in the middle of the night, egging cute boys' houses.
Oh, I remember when you did that.
And trying to TP houses just to get their attention, and then, one night the cops followed us and we scattered and ran down the street, and I hid under this patio for 3 hours because I was so terrified. And we were conditioned that if you get busted by the cops, it's the end of your life. You're not going to college. You're never going to get a job. You're never going to get married. But now you've got an entire generation of people who are like, you know, all cops are bad. Cops are dicks. Defund the police. Like, do whatever you want. Say whatever you want. And unfortunately, like these ICE agents, and I'm like you, like, I don't want this stuff to happen. I do not want protesters getting killed. Right. I don't want people doing stupid things. And I'm also very curious, like, what are the rules of engagement for federal officers versus local officers? I don't know. An investigation will tell us that stuff. But unfortunately, you have a group of people who no longer have respect for law enforcement. And so it's like the people who are left doing that job, they're either violent, raging criminals themselves, or they're the very best among us. Because especially, I know we're going to talk about Portland, in places like Portland, no one has your back. Like the hippies, the protesters, the mayor, and you know, we're going to see a little bit of video that will make every cop's butthole pucker.
Oh,
but
not again.
But unfortunately, this is the environment we're in, because this is the environment that has been conditioned for us.
Yeah. You know, we always hear in the military cannon fodder, but I think we learned that activist groups also have cannon fodder. They put her out in front, and she is expendable, and they lose her, it helps the cause. She's their cannon fodder.
Well, no. Well, first of all, I think you have to defend protesters here a little bit. Protesters don't get shot. Domestic terrorists do. There's a difference there. Somebody who stands outside and has a difference in opinion in what your belief system is, and they want to get a sign, and they want to sing songs, that's fine. But when you are going out of your way to go after, forget that he's a cop, another human being. That's what domestic terrorists do. There's a big difference there. Here's the thing. This isn't. Minnesota is special in the fact that they were very effective during George Floyd. They got the police department and the government of Minnesota to bend the knee to them. Police officers were walking with looters, apologizing for being white, apologizing for being taking cops. They burned down their police station. So the people in Minnesota, they are the bad people, the domestic terrorists, are empowered because they think the other side wears gloves. Because what has police in this country been doing, Republicans been doing? White gloves. It's never the others. They're not fighting back. And now it's gone, and they just needed, we always talk about this, Greg, if they crack a few eggshells.
Yeah.
Well, she's an eggshell. And if they could have got, without all that video stuff coming out, if they could have got the angle that made it look like the car was stationary, they would have got what they wanted. They would have had Minnesota in fire that night, and they would have had all the sanctuary cities burning. But here's the thing, America grew up a lot.
Yeah.
When you took away the police, it hit everybody at home. You're having a problem with your drunk husband and you call, we can't come because we don't have officers. You get carjacked, and sorry, we can't come, we have officers. That made more of a difference than the last 10 years of trying to make police officers too afraid to do their job. And then she found out the hard way. And the worst person in all this, in my opinion, instead of yelling, go, baby, go, how about saying, stop, baby, stop? Yeah. She would have went home with you that night.
Yeah, that's true. But she didn't care.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.